Pretty good. Hashtag getting my cookie on. Hashtag I'm the real cookie monster. Hashtag no.
Delicious, right? Hashtag I did it all for the cookie. Hashtag LOL.
Hashtag classic. By the way, did you catch last week's episode of Duck Dynasty? Hashtag quack quack.
Nah, lately I've mostly been watching.
Good morning and welcome inside this thing that I don't know what we're going to call it. It's Tyler Welch and I here inside CFMU 93.3. Could call it hashtag, could call it trends, trending. What do you think, Ty?
Who knows what it's going to be called, but we know it will be called great.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
We're going to go through the internet. You can check out Twitter, check out Facebook, check out whatever is trending or hashtagged around the World Wide Web and fill you in. You don't even have to surf your own internet anymore. You can get your cereal, get your big bowl of Fruit Loops, whatever you like for breakfast. Tune in to us, read your internet for you. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
I feel like we should probably do weather like you do on Morning File, but there's no way I could do the weather as cheerfully as you do. Because you drop barometric pressure, the ceiling.
I can't even say barometric correctly most of the time. But I'll tell you the weather, as experienced by my bike ride 4 minutes ago, it's cold.
It's gonna rain. No.
I didn't wear gloves. I don't even know if I still have hands.
Yeah,
it's freezing.
I walked in around 7 this morning. The sun was just coming up, and it was freezing. I have a buddy that plays on the Mac football team, Ben O'Connor, who I know is a consistent listener of this show. No.
He's our biggest fan.
He works at a golf course, I believe, in Ancaster, and he said he showed up at the golf course at 6 a.m. the other day, as he has for the past 3 months, and there were four men waiting at the front door of the golf course at 6 a.m. when it was 2 degrees outside, and they said, where have you been? We want to go outside and golf right now. Like,
yeah, some guys have a bad situation at home.
I think that's probably there's push.
Who doesn't want to stay at least till 7?
Yeah, there's push-pull factors in a lot of things, and I think that golfing at 6 a.m. and 2 degrees is more due to a push than a pull.
I think so. When it's that cold,
yeah,
there aren't very many pull factors associated with it.
Yes, it's true. And somebody who could use a nice warm back, perhaps, in the future, now that his back is a little bit frozen and out of commission, unfortunately, Steve Nash. Should be the first thing we'll talk about real quick.
Beautiful segue.
I try. Lakers confirm Steve Nash is ruled out for the 14-15 season with a back injury, which I'm going to be honest, kind of pisses me off because I love watching him play. The legacy that he leaves behind, ranked number 3 all-time in total assists. He's got to be behind Stockton and one other person. I'm going to find that. 9th in assists per game, tied for first in free throw percentage, 90.4% through his career through 1,200 games. 13th in true shooting percentage. I don't know what that is. 2-time MVP, 8-time All-Star, 3-time first-team All-Star.
True shooting percentage?
Yes.
I believe is shooting percentage that doesn't count dunks.
Oh, true.
So it's like
no layups.
Yeah, no
so
layups,
what you're
no
saying
dunks don't count.
Is
He's
my
awesome.
True shooting percentage would be about 10% from high school. Because if I wasn't getting it from 6 feet or in, it wasn't happening.
Wasn't going in.
No, it's not happening.
Steve Nash makes me sad as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of athletes get old and their shape kind of peters out.
Yep.
And they can't keep up with the young guns anymore. But that wasn't Steve Nash's problem.
No.
The guy's in wicked shape.
Oh,
there's a picture on his Twitter from August 17th. Of course, not that long ago. And his abs are kind of too rock hard to describe in this photo. He's thin, he's svelte, which is a good word for slim.
Yep.
He's in good shape, and he can keep up. The problem was his old man back kind of sidelined him for, the last 3 years, really.
There's some pretty amazing stuff that has been put out by Grantland on him last year at the kind of 3/4 mark of the NBA season, where he did a 4-part documentary with Grantland called The Finish Line. And it was all about his want to finish his career as a Laker and just play one more year. This is a guy who's close to, if not 40, and he's not trying to lengthen his career like Brett Favre for 5-6 more years. He said, I want to play 82 more games, try to make the playoffs, play with Kobe, see what we can do, and then move on. And
he wasn't delusional like a lot of these other athletes. He knew that it was the end.
Yeah.
He just wanted another shot.
And then in that Finish Line documentary, they have clips of him working out, standing on a Bosu ball, trying to get back into shape. And he has incredible balance and athleticism for a guy, first of all, of that age, But then he has his shirt off. Really hairy chest, by the way. Steve Nash loves the 90s hairy chest look. Just throwing it out there. But
he's got some hair.
Yeah, but in that shot, he has a big scar down his back. And it shows him getting acupuncture, like a couple hundred needles in his back, and it shows him trying to jog, and he talks about trying to get out of bed in the morning and the fact that, you know, he doesn't have much longer. And he also found a clause in the contract where if he was put on injured reserve this season, he could still make basically the balance of his contract. Forget what the clause was called, but he found that out during this documentary filming, and they were with him in a car, and they showed him trying to talk to his agent about it. He said, yeah, did you hear about this clause? And they said, yeah. He goes, okay, well, that's probably what the Lakers are going to do then, is put me on IR, and they only have to pay me 3/4 of my salary, but they get to pay it to me over 3 or 4 years. And then somebody, you know, they talk about him being called out by people in Los Angeles for you're stealing money from the team, you're not even giving us anything. And he's basically saying, you signed the contract too. If you want me to sign the contract to be honest to it when I sign it, then you better pay me the money that you agreed to when you put it in. That's why you have players associations that allow you to get the money that you rightfully deserve if a team signs onto a contract. But now you see he's put on IR or whatever it is, so he's probably going to get that money over 3 or 4 years. But for professional athletes, you can only make money for a certain period of time, and it's really interesting to see Steve having to go down this route as much as it sucks.
So check that out. Search Twitter. You don't have to because we're telling you about it, but it's all over the place. Check out that Grantland video series as well.
All-time NBA assists. Number 1, John Stockton. Number 2, Jason Kidd. 3, Steve Nash. 4, Mark Jackson. 5, Magic Johnson. That's a pretty good list.
And you got to think that if his back hadn't acted up so much in the past 3 years, he could be number 2.
We lived in a golden era as children of assist men. Stockton, Kidd, Nash.
Yeah, we had some great point guards.
Top 3 all time, and then you throw in other guys that were around, and then Gary Payton. Andre Miller is somehow number 9 all time in pass assists. But yeah, we grew up in a pretty good era. Maybe that's why we're such caring, giving people, because there was just assist men everywhere.
That could be it.
Do you want to talk next about Ottawa already? You want to go to it? It's 8:41.
I don't know it. I guess we have to now.
It kind of deserves it. Yep. I have about 4.5, 5 minutes of Rex Murphy clips I'd like to play for you because his commentary on the National the last 2 nights has been outstanding. We also have Anderson Cooper, who kind of breaks down the situation of the video that was released, which I find you knew it was coming, the surveillance video, because that's the society we live in now, but to actually see the images of the guy fly up in the car, get out, and run past a group of people with a long rifle just blew my mind.
It's freaky, and in a place that both Marshall and I have been.
A place I'll be standing tonight. We're taking a bus this morning to Ottawa to go play the GGs in football tomorrow at 1 o'clock, but we're going down today, and I plan on going to Parliament Hill today.
Yeah, it's a place that's riddled with good memories.
Yeah.
For me, and history for the whole country, and now it's scarred by this garbage. Before we go to those clips, I do want to read one tweet from Peter Mansbridge. We listened to his coverage with Evan Solomon all day.
Yes.
The day that happened. He got a lot of good tweets, a lot of good press about his good press, and he said the following yesterday on Twitter: "We have been inundated with some very nice comments about our coverage today. This is just to say we appreciate everyone. Thank you so much." That's a classy man.
When I tweeted out saying Peter Mansbridge is a god, I didn't mean he is a religious relic. I meant he brings calm to situations where no calm should exist. Mm-hmm. He has the ability to influence a situation and make you as the viewer understand more about the situation without going over the top. And through social media, you've been seeing the CBC at large has gotten so much praise for the way they've handled this, because there were Fox News headlines that said terror in Ottawa, people terrorized, all these kind of things that were sensationalist headlines. And facts are king. And the headline on CBC.ca was gunman attacks Parliament Hill, captured, Ottawa shut down, like, please stay safe, here's the facts, here's what you need to know. And it was a very large disparity between the way that Canadian media covered the event and American media. I found that very interesting, but Peter Mansbridge, as per usual, ahead of it all, completely dominated the situation and made everyone understand it much better than we could have with a lot of other people. Like, I'm trying to imagine if it was hosted by, I don't know, political media better than I do. Like,
Oh, yeah. If it was like someone from down south, like imagine Bill O'Reilly or Glenn Beck or someone
Yeah.
talking about this, either of them would be rambling off about extremists at home
Yeah.
and how everyone
It would
should
get
board
very
up their
off
windows.
topic.
Peter Mansbridge is the comforter of Canada.
yeah,
I love him.
he is the new comforter because you don't want that old comforter because that thing gets worn down. It feels kind of gross. Even in his old age, he tends to stay very fresh.
Well, he's got a high thread count.
Yeah, it's true.
Very
He's-
good pun. What's the first clip we got?
First clip, I'm going to try and play this Anderson Cooper here describing the scene that
Yeah,
happened.
if you haven't seen the video and you're driving or you're busy, you want to know what happens, here it comes.
It might take a second here. Sorry.
Hey, man, that's okay.
That's the internet for you, you know? That's all right. The Anderson Cooper. Was this on AC360?
It was.
Is this on his show? Okay, here it is.
The first time you see the shooting suspect, he's driving away from the War Memorial toward Parliament. You can see people begin to scatter away from the monument. The video shows him pulling up near one of the front gates of Parliament. This person walks toward the vehicle before turning and running away. The suspect runs out of the car with his gun, heading full speed toward the center of Parliament. The shooter approaches these vehicles parked outside the Parliament building, and he heads to the car parked in front. There's some type of exchange between the shooter and the driver of the front vehicle, and the driver eventually runs away. The suspect takes the car and drives toward the main Parliament building. When Royal Canadian Mounted Police take notice, they begin to follow the car. With officers in pursuit, he pulls up to the main entrance, gets out of the vehicle, and runs inside. Only seconds later, shots ring out. Sergeant-at-Arms Kevin Vickers finally shoots and kills the suspect. This is video of Vickers just moments after the shooting rampage stopped. 3 others are injured. Today, cheers and applause for Vickers as Parliament reconvened and law enforcement search for answers about the shooter.
He is a Canadian citizen, and we have information that he may have had dual Libyan-Canadian citizenship. He was born in Montreal and has lived in Calgary and most recently in Vancouver.
Police said the suspect was not part of the 90 so-called high-risk travelers Canadian authorities were aware of, and that he recently applied for a passport intending to go to the Middle East.
According to some...
So you get a pretty good idea there of the footage. If you want to see it, it'll be sent out from multiple, I'm sure, Twitter accounts today all around Canadian media. But a couple of things from that video. First, has anyone talked to the driver yet who had their car hijacked on the hill?
That's what I was thinking too. That for media is an amazing interview to
Yeah.
get. For law enforcement, you want to know what that shooter said.
That's the last person to talk to, and I don't even know the name of the shooter, and I don't feel like publicizing it anyways. So, because that's another thing that I find that
Let's not give the guy glory, right?
the Canadian media has, for the most part, done well. It started to turn into an American-style vendetta of who was he, who's his background, what's his family like, what's his mother saying, all that. But for the most part, Canadian media has done a good job of not saying his name and not caring about who he was, so I'm on board with that. But anyways, the person in the car is the last person to speak with that man before he went inside and was shot dead.
And that's the thing too, because the person in the car went unharmed. Right?
Yeah.
People on the lawn went unharmed. You want to know what this guy's motivation was, knowing that he held off on the shooting until he actually got in the building, right?
Yes.
So he hijacks the guy's car, could have easily, hurt or killed a person to steal their car.
Right.
If he's all about causing savagery and terribleness.
very strange.
But he waits until he's in Parliament. So you want to know his motivation there. And maybe he said something indicative to that driver.
Yeah, it's very true. It'll be an interesting conversation when it does happen, I'm sure. We'll keep our eyes peeled for it, but I'd be interested. And the other crazy shot, there's two other shots in that surveillance footage that kind of grabs me. One is right when he hops out of that beat-up Corolla in front, when the couple of people are standing there, the moves on the big man carrying the briefcase in the three-quarter coat.
bolts.
Oh, my goodness. Like, the instant, oh, my God, what's happening, adrenaline rush, the guy turned into Usain Bolt.
He did.
He flew, and he dodged through those wickets that are right there. And, I'm not making fun of it. I'm just saying I can't imagine being in that moment and seeing that guy run away and wondering what the hell is going on.
Right? You see a guy run away from a car, and then I don't know what you see, a guy's angry face and the tip of a shotgun.
Yeah.
I can't even understand how fast I'd be running.
Yeah, and you as well pointed out, like, how close exactly, because I'm pretty knowledgeable about the area, but the War Memorial to where that car stopped, how many meters are we talking?
I mean, it's
A couple hundred?
It's a bit of a run.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just wondering, because I'm wondering how loud the shot was, because the same gun, assuming it was the same gun, because we don't even have a report on whether there was multiple weapons involved or if it was just one. Everyone just says rifle, but that one audio clip I have for you from 680 News, it sounds like a shotgun.
It's loud, yeah. But then again, you got to know that the chamber in center block is pretty echoey.
Did you see? Sorry to get off topic here, but did you see the clip they showed last night on the National of where the shooter went once he got inside the building?
I didn't see it. Did they have like a map view?
Yeah, so it was like an overhead floor plan kind of thing, like you would see at the White House, where it was like, here's the East Room, here's the West, here's all that. The overhead shot, he went in the front doors where, this is another interesting interview, the guard that was inside that had his foot shot, when he came through the door, this guard was unarmed and he grabbed the gun and pulled it down to the floor and tried to keep it away from pointing and yelled, gun, gun, got shot in the foot, and then the guy ran forward. He ran forward, the gunman did, about 20 meters. If he turned left, he would have run directly into the Liberal caucus meeting. If he turned right, he would have run directly into the NDP caucus meeting, who were both having their meetings in that time in the morning. Instead, he went forward, ran to the end of the hall, and got shot. Like, this could have been way worse.
Oh, yeah. A lot of unarmed people in suits.
Literally
on either side.
It's one of those, like, fire point moments where if he turns 90 degrees and decides to run into a room, there's probably teens, if not more, people dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which could have been crazy. And also there was an MP yesterday who said this situation could have been much worse because last Friday there was a group of about 200 school children who were here standing in the front foyer at that time in the morning.
Terrifying.
Yeah, which it just completely changes your ideas on it. But there's that. I don't know if you have anything else. I want to play that 680 News little audio clip of the actual raw part where he was inside. I believe he was in the basement, the person that I'm going to play the clip for you from here.
Yeah, he's on the phone in this clip, right? He's talking to his producer or editor or something, trying to figure out the political stories for the day.
Yeah. And
he finds out that there's a gunman, but the call's still on. So is a really interesting kind of bird's eye view, eye on the wall kind of situation when the media found out that everything was going down. And I don't want to say fortunate, but as media, we're relatively fortunate that he was on the phone during this and it got recorded. Yeah, and he's, classic media personality. He's standing in the middle of this whole situation. He just says, "You're rolling on me, right? You're rolling? Yeah, okay, put me live on air." Amazing. Like, his first thought is, like, let's get this Let's get the story.
But,
yeah.
This is the raw audio from Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweeney. Was on the phone with his editor talking about possible assignments when the shooting started on Parliament Hill. He turned on his recorder, and this is what he heard.
I don't know. There's a bunch of gunshots. A guy with a shotgun?
Yeah, I saw him come in the door.
Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do I go? This way?
Go at the back.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, are you rolling on me right now? Okay, I'm in a security office right now. Apparently, somebody has walked up to the front steps of Parliament Hill with a single guy came in with a shotgun. There were. Yes, go put me on air right now.
That was Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill reporter, on his experience inside Parliament when that started to go down. The other thing I want to mention about this topic as well is the Kevin Vickers narrative that we're writing right now. I agree with it completely. And you and I, you love to joke about it. He seems like, Top Gun. He seems like the hero of any movie. But how much, Tyler, do you think in this situation we've been taught for every villain there needs to be a hero? And sometimes these stories are created to find a hero to make us feel better about the situation, and we feel the need to anoint someone with praise that I hope is correct. But it looked like an episode of CSI yesterday where you're watching, somebody take credit for something and they're like nodding their head, but they're not really showing much emotion. And I just hope that the story that we're being fed about Kevin Vickers is completely true, because we really don't know, regardless of whether or not his bullet killed him. I don't care who was the fatal shot, but he did step in the line of duty, he did protect, and he did take charge of the situation. But I just hope that the whole narrative doesn't come crashing down in some way, because sometimes, we build up these situations and they come falling down once the actual facts come out. And I'm sure there will be an inquiry into Parliamentary Hill security and all of that. But that was a thought that I had last night watching when they were talking about, every single news outlet right now is trying to find a hero in the situation, which we tend to do.
No, I think you're right. That's just the narrative we create to lift people up after a tragedy. So it was very sad. There aren't a lot of positives to find in this story, right?
Yeah.
So there's Kevin Vickers stepping up to do his duty, and there's that lawyer who was at the War Memorial who was trying to save the life of Corporal Nathan Cirillo. They're two heroes of the day for sure. But you're right. We do have to be careful anointing these people to such a high pedestal. They did amazing things.
Yeah.
No one's going to debate that. But I just hope it's all true too.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I'm very aware of the fact that sometimes these things are fluid situations. Fluid and ongoing, as the RCMP would say yesterday.
Fluid and ongoing.
Fluid and ongoing. That was the most useless press conference I think I've ever seen. And I was at football practice during Harper's thing, but I saw tweets after that said, really, I stayed up for a press release? That was like he was speaking to the Royal Legion. Apparently it wasn't a very inspirational speech, but when you look like you have a mop on your head, I don't know if that's the other thing as well. And I don't know if
mops are the other thing.
Yeah, no. The other thing is that in the United States, there is the Secret Service. There is, a history of presidential assassinations or assassination attempts. And there is this fixation with keeping the commander-in-chief safe at all times. In Canada, I think they announced yesterday that the RCMP will now have a permanent bodyguard traveling with Prime Minister Harper anywhere he goes. I said to you when this was all going down, there's people running around with guns on Parliament Hill, and the first thing that came out was President Harper is not on the Hill. And I said, first of all, bullpucky, that's trying to protect him by, oh yeah, he's not here. They should stop looking for him because we don't know how many people are around. And the other part of that is, as bad as it sounds, when there's people's lives in danger, everyone's lives are equal at that point. And I understand the whole political side of it of trying to keep safe your leaders so that there's not a loss in structure of decision making and power in moments of crossfire like this. But I don't really care where the Prime Minister is at that moment. If he's safe, fantastic. I don't want any harm to come to any leader of any country for any reason. But why is the headline RCMP permanent guard now with Stephen Harper and Harper is safe? And isn't Tom Mulcair and Justin Trudeau just as meaningful to the country in that moment, regardless of whether or not they're the leader?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that early report coming out probably had a lot more to do with making sure any terrorists listening weren't still searching for Prime Minister Harper,
right?
As much as it had to do with actual media coverage.
Yeah,
because you see that they really stopped talking about that. Once they figured out that it was only one shooter, that he'd been taken care of by Kevin Vickers, they didn't really talk about the leaders as much anymore.
Yeah.
They started figuring out more what had happened. So that media report, I think, had very much to do with protection. But I think we're still doing okay.
Yeah.
Compared to the American media. And
no, I agree.
When anything goes down at the White House and they're like, just railing off the whole procedure. President Obama was surrounded by 60 Secret Service agents taken down the hall to the left and into the bunker.
Yeah, I think that's why the U.S. has a film called Air Force One with Harrison Ford that did extremely well at the box office. In Canada, it doesn't have a movie called WestJet Flight 307 going from Winnipeg to Ottawa on a Thursday afternoon because that's probably...
The title's too long. It wouldn't fit on the banner. And also no one would watch it.
Yes, that's very true. Last thing I wanted to get to real quick in about 10 seconds or less. How was your experience with Nenshi?
Oh, Nenshi was great.
Yeah?
Mayor of Calgary,
Yep.
Naheed Nenshi, came to Hamilton yesterday, paid his respects to the division of the military that Corporal Nathan Cirillo was a part of, and then came over to McMaster for an event which was kind of inspiring, trying to inspire the cities that they can grow, as Calgary has in the last 3 years radically changed. But he also came to poach young adults and convince them to move to Calgary, and I was close to sold.
Really? You're up
He
there?
made it sound so great.
So you're saying Nenshi was like Jimmy McElroy in Blades of Glory
Exactly like
when
that.
he was going into the Hall of the Grublets.
Except Nenshi was better.
Yeah?
He was inspiring. He's an excellent politician. If that guy doesn't run for some high-level federal thing, then I'm going to be shocked, because he can win.
Yeah, I'd follow him to Planet Moon and back.
Man, our time is almost over, and it's very sad.
I know.
I want to address Ebola a little bit.
Yeah, sorry.
That's
This
okay.
needs to be an hour-long show, realistically.
I mean, it's a big news week.
Yeah.
We didn't even really get to pop culture that
There's a lot of
much.
stuff going on. Also, Paulina is on next.
That's true.
Yeah, and she's hanging out in the lobby right now, waving at us, going, "Get off the microphones!
Get off the air! It's my turn." Well, you know what? Ebola is important to talk about, Paulina.
You could wait, Paulina.
A doctor in New York City was diagnosed with it, if you haven't heard it. He tested positive for Ebola and sought help. He did exactly the right thing. So far, everything's okay, but people are freaking. New York City is higher north than it's ever been, closest to Canada that Ebola's ever been. And before we run out of time, I want to tell you all about something stupid.
Yep, go ahead.
Nick Musin is an advisor to Senator Ted Cruz down in the States. Ted Cruz, I'm not the biggest fan of, but we don't have to get to that. Nick Musin is an advisor of him, and he tweeted a joke that I get the premise to, but come on, buddy.
Yeah.
Says, quote, "Before Obamacare, there had never been a confirmed case of Ebola in the U.S."
Yeah.
Ha ha ha. Get rid of Obama. Don't joke about Ebola.
Yeah, and don't try to tag Obama's name with Ebola in any way. Is that everything? We good?
That's it. We can get out of here. We're out of time.
Yeah, I believe, Paulina, give me a thumbs up if your interview is with MasterChef. Yeah, double thumbs up. Really cool interview coming up next. I'm going to leave you right now with Rex Murphy's commentary from last night.
The saddest thing I saw today was the image of a woman, then police officers and medics desperately pumping the heart of the soldier in Ottawa as he lay dying. How long they strived, I cannot tell, but long it was, and enough to make all of us who are watching tremble and weep with sheer pity. To kill a soldier standing unarmed ceremonial guard at the tomb of the unknown soldier was a bottomless cowardice and a perversion. If the soul of Canada has an abiding place, it is here, in the great hallowed war memorial with the tomb in our capital city, a bugle call away from the chambers of our national deliberations. The murder of fine, fit, friendly, and unarmed Corporal Nathan Cirillo was not a thoughtless act. Instead, it was soaked in callousness and contempt. The slaughter was meant to burn beyond the deed itself, to speak fundamental insult to the very ideas of honor, sacrifice, and solidarity, which are our military's credo and our country's ideals. The killer was a hateful brute. Let us not name him. But today was not the damn killers. It produced a master counterexample. The Sergeant-at-Arms, Mr. Kevin Vickers. Mr. Vickers, the whole country is unanimous on all the matters that count. Bravery, duty, selflessness. You are as good as they get. The office of Sergeant-at-Arms can never have been better filled. So as we mourn the soldier, Corporal Cirillo, let us honor the sergeant, Mr. Vicker. They compass between them so much of what we Canadians choose to admire and love. For The National, I'm Rex Murphy.